The Rams defeated the Saints 30-22. Derek Carr was 27-40, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. He also had 2 carries for 2 yards. This is what he's been the entire year. He'll get you decent fantasy production, reliable, like not going to be QB1, but he can like compete for that high end of the middle of the road sort of quarterback. Streaming level in 10 or 12 team leagues. They have the Bucs next week, so that's another really good matchup for Derek Carr. So if you're in a really desperate quarterback situation, which would be kind of hard to believe if you were in the finals, but actually not so much, because if you drafted a quarterback late and you just nailed one, like there's probably some people out there who had Sam Howell as their quarterback a bunch who are still in the playoffs. So if you're in that realm, Derek Carr is a really decent option for you. Matthew Stafford has the Giants also, so that's a good option. Both these quarterbacks are worth considering if you are needy a quarterback next week. Alvin Kamara, just 9 carries for 19 yards, and he also had 5 catches for 16 on 6 targets. Not super productive here, but he's been so amazing up to this point. The Bucs have a pretty tough run defense as well, so he's going to have to do most of his work receiving the ball, which he has definitely shown the ability to do. 5 catches here is a lot, but only 16 yards. That can absolutely pick up. So I would still suggest starting Alvin Kamara next week, even though this was kind of a dud. Jamaal Williams could stay on the wire, though. 2 carries for 8 yards. He also had a catch for 5. Really, if something happens to Kamara in practice, then you would consider Jamaal Williams there. Rashid Shaheed had a carry for 4 yards. He also had 5 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. Awesome stuff there. He's going to be super up and down, like he has all season. So just depends how lucky you're feeling with the Bucs next week. But the Bucs are a really good matchup, so there's absolutely the potential there for Derek Carr to go off and to continue to spread the ball around like this. Taysom Hill, he had 2 carries for 2 yards. No receiving work in this one, no passing work. So a dud there for Taysom Hill. Another one of those guys like Rashid Shaheed, super up and down. Just depends on how lucky you're feeling that week if you start Taysom Hill. Chris Olave, he was great. 9 catches, 123 yards on 13 targets. He is the unquestioned primary receiver here. They're going to feed him the ball a whole lot. So definitely start Chris Olave next week against the Bucs. He's going to be pushing top 10 value. Juwan Johnson, 4 catches for 48 yards and a receiving touchdown. This was his best game of the season. He's been turning it on a little bit towards the end here. If you're needy a tight end, maybe, but not someone you want to prioritize starting. A.T. Perry had a catch for 35 yards and a receiving touchdown. I really like his value in Dynasty. Foster Moreau, he had a catch for 13. Keith Kirkwood had a catch for 9. And Jamaal Williams had that catch for 5. Matthew Stafford, 24-34, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also had a carry for -4 yards. Absolutely someone you want to consider starting next week. He's going to be pushing top 10 yet again. He's just been unbelievable at the end of the season here. So if you have him, you are probably just plugging along in the playoffs here, as well as if you have Kyren Williams or really any Ram here. Cooper Kupp, maybe not so much, but Puka, Nacua, and Kyren Williams were unbelievable. Kyren had 22 carries for 104 yards and a receiving touchdown, or a rushing touchdown. No receiving work for him whatsoever. The receiving work was very narrow, which is interesting and probably the way that most teams, if they had a choice, would do it this way. It's just crazy that it actually happened. Only 4 guys getting receptions here. Ronnie Rivers, 6 carries for 20 yards. Ronnie Rivers is going to have solid value if Kyren Williams gets hurt. And, there was an injury scare in the middle of this game too, so it's not totally out of line that something would happen to Kyren. So a really interesting ad in Dynasty, I think Ronnie Rivers is right now. And Kyren, obviously, even though he didn't have any receiving work, you are starting him no matter what next week. The Giants are a decent matchup again, so he's going to be just fine. Keep plugging him in there. Puka, he had 2 carries for 16 yards and 9 catches, 164 yards, and a receiving touchdown on 11 targets. He is just ridiculous. He is a must-play next week. Unreal stuff from him this season. The number 1 rookie receiver, trying to think who could potentially challenge him. Tank Dell got hurt. Zay Flowers, he's not in Puka's class. Like, Puka has just been the number 1. Jordan Addison, maybe, but Jordan Addison more touchdown. Like, Puka's ability to just, they're giving him the ball on the ground. They're throwing it to him just as much as Cooper Kupp when he's fully healthy. It's just ridiculous stuff. If you have Puka in Dynasty, congratulations, because he is going to be an unreal asset, at the very least, going into this offseason. I can't wait to see how far this team goes in the playoffs, too, because their offense just looks unstoppable. Cooper Kupp, he had a carry for -3 yards and just 6 catches for 52 yards. Led the team in targets. They're trying to get him the ball. They're like, the connection with Puka has been unreal this entire year. But Cooper Kupp had some really good games here the last 2 weeks, so I would still play him next week with the Giants matchup. Demarcus Robinson, how about this? He's been coming on the last few weeks. 6 catches, 82 yards, and a receiving touchdown for him on 6 targets. The lack of targets compared to Cooper Kupp and Puka kind of scares me as far as being a fantasy starter in like a 10 or a 12 team. I still wouldn't 100% buy into him going off next week. If you're in a weird spot at your flex, I can understand it, but I would still hold off. I think when this team has it exactly right, they want to give everything to Puka and Cooper Kupp, with Tyler Higbee and Demarcus Robinson kind of getting what's left, not necessarily Demarcus Robinson being as featured as he was, and not necessarily featured either, because they tried to get Cooper Kupp the ball twice as much, but just didn't connect. So just awesome stuff here from anyone who started Demarcus Robinson this week. And I did get some comments from people saying, hey, what about Demarcus Robinson? What about Demarcus Robinson? And I just hadn't really been on board, but these last few weeks, he's just been unbelievable. So great stuff there. Tyler Higbee, just the 3 catches for 30 yards on 3 targets. He's getting a little older. He's getting into his 30s, and Davis Allen has looked really good in limited work this season. So I'm looking at Davis Allen in dynasty leagues right now. Not so much Tyler Higbee. I think he's going to continue to fall off a little bit. I think next year it's going to be very Puka. Like, Puka's going to be more featured, I think. Cooper Kupp's going to be there too. Like, they're going to filter everything through Puka and Cooper Kupp, and I think they're going to bring Davis Allen along as well. So look out for that along down the road. This team looks phenomenal right now. Can't wait to watch them in the playoffs. Maybe the Saints win the NFC South the way that that division is looking, but the Bucs look really good right now. So that would be my pick to win that division, but we'll just have to see. The Saints have definitely shown flashes this year, so we'll watch out for that. That'll do it for me today. Thank you so much, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, follow at We Are Drafting on Instagram. Week 16 ads, drops, quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, defenses, all up there. Check those out. I'll see you over there, and thank you again so much for watching.